What's up, E.D.G family? Kevin here. I'd like to officially welcome all of you to the year 2023. Before we get too far into that though, I want to talk a little bit about the year 2022. A little bit being, I want to talk about all of my top games of 2022. You know, the ones I played a lot, the ones that, you know, were flashy, brand new, that came out last year. Not all of these games are going to be games that actually released last year, but most of them I believe did. So take that with what you will, but these are all going to be games I played last year, played generally quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure I liked them all. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be on this list. So before we get too far into the list, I do want to talk about how I tend to do these. This is going to be about the fourth time I've done something to the effect of a top 10 game video from the previous year. The way I base a lot of this stuff is going to be based on my actual plays, you know, time spent playing some of these games, and you know, the value of some of these games. You know, how much do these games actually cost? And you know, we're even talking about, I could have some games that I picked up last year, and I do, that this was the year they kind of had a breakout year, and they made the list. I also want to say that there were a lot of games that didn't make this list, and we're going to talk about those for just a second. So I got a couple honorable mentions. The first one is actually going to be my number 11. It would have, I mean, a couple more plays and this thing probably would have made the top 10. And the game I want to talk about is Tenpenny Parks, a polyomino game based on building an amusement park. This game, I got 10 plays on this game this year. About half of them were solo, and about half of them were with my 7-year-old daughter. And this isn't a lightweight polyomino game. So kudos to her for being able to play this with me. But it made me realize something very specific. As much as I think that the solo mode for Tenpenny Parks is quite good, I prefer to play it with other players. I think the focus changes quite a bit, and it's just a lot more enjoyable. And I had some fantastic plays with her. And like I said, this isn't just, you know, some easy entry game. You know, there's polyomino placement, there's worker placement, you know, there's some resource management, there's, you know, hidden goals, and even some set collection in it. So, you know, it was a pretty solid game for me. Like I said, I think if the solo mode would have been a little bit more like what you get with the actual experience in the game, I probably would have played it a couple more times, probably would have snuck onto this list, but it didn't. But it is still quite a good game, and I did enjoy it. That is Tenpenny Parks. The other games, I got two more I want to talk about for specific reasons. The next thing I want to talk about is Too Many Bones. This will be the first year that Too Many Bones does not appear on my top 10 review. It has previously, as I've picked up content, continuing to get played, and it got played this year. I believe it still got played like 18, 19 times. But we didn't get any new content. They did drop a new character, which I don't have yet, but I will probably pick it up sometime next year. But talking about I say next year, we're in 2023. Talking about 2023, they have a ton of content coming out this year, so this is a game that could quite possibly see this list at the end of the year. Tons of content. I'm going to be bringing a lot of that to the channel, and so I do expect there is a possibility that Too Many Bones could make its return next year. The other game I want to talk about, and I've also had some coverage on it, is Crokinole. I got my Crokinole board late summer, early fall, and it was my second highest played game after I got it. I played it 43 times between, you know, maybe like 2-player games, some doubles, and some solo Crokinole cards. So I do have to give Crokinole some mad credit, because it's a great game, and I assume that it's going to get played a lot this year too. So I don't want to wait too much longer to get into this, so let's talk about my number 10. My number 10 is Aquatica. Now, this game did not come out last year. It actually came out in 2019. And it's my number 10, but to be honest, it's the lowest time played. I played a ton of solo games of this, and I may have burned myself out of the solo mode. But it's quick, it's simple, and I do like the theme of it. And yeah, I had 17 plays on this, which, you know, is a decent amount. It's also a fairly quick game. This game, in the future, I feel like, for it to be maybe higher up on my overall, it's going to need plays. It's going to need some plays with some people, and I'm going to have to introduce this game to some people that maybe are just kind of, on the cusp of board gaming that can probably handle it, some newbies. I think this is a very intro-friendly game. Like I said, I did enjoy it. It's just, I feel like it's very redundant solo mode after a while. High score type situation. But, it's okay. And it did make my number 10, so I did enjoy it for quite a while this year. And that's Aquatica. My number 9. This is an interesting one. This is where this list, for me, gets quite odd compared to the last couple years. My number 9 is a game that appeared last year on this list. And so obviously it didn't come out this year. I believe it came out in 2020. And the game we're talking about is Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef. So, funny thing is this game was on my 10 for 10. If you don't know what that is, it's a gaming challenge. You're trying to complete 10 plays, 10 different games. I am going to do a completely different video on that later, so I'm going to get too much into that. But this was on my 10 for 10. I did get my 10 plays, and that's pretty much it. But somehow, the value of the game, it takes about, played it mostly solo, it's not a short game. So it had very solid stats, and it snuck onto this list at number 9, being in my 10th spot last year. And I felt like it's kind of appropriate. It was kind of like getting me ready for Tidal Blades Part 2. Now, I have played a ton of this game solo, mainly solo, and I'd have to say I've pretty much figured out the solo puzzle, so I don't see this game getting too many solo plays going into the future, but I will probably pull it out when Tidal Blades 2 is close to shipping, just to kind of set myself up for that story, because I am excited about, the different game in the same world. I talk about, it's very unique, it's Tidal Blades, specifically the first game, very unique with, the dice upgrading system. It's a decent worker placement game, but the world building's just fantastic. The art's fantastic, and that's kind of what sucked me into really being excited about the action dungeon crawler dice roller of what Tidal Blades 2 is going to be. So yeah, that is my number 9, Tidal Blades. Coming up next is my number 8 game. My number 8 game is a game that I definitely could have seen higher up on this list. There's a couple reasons it didn't end up higher up on this list. One, it's definitely one of the pricier games as a package. The other thing is I didn't start playing this game till October. So I only got a few months of this game played, and we're considering that on a top 10 of a lot of these games that I've been playing most of the year. And the game I'm talking about is a game that you guys have seen quite a bit on this channel, and that is Final Girl. Final Girl didn't come out in 2022. It came out pretty late in 2021, enough for it to make a lot of people's top number 1 solo game, and I would have to say it is getting up there for me. I do have quite a few other solo games that I do enjoy, but Final Girl, I think when it's all said and done, is going to be up there. And I'm super excited about Wave 2 coming this year, and I'm going to be bringing a lot more content from that. This is a game I have enjoyed, mixing killers with locations and, playing all the different Final Girls. It's a great game. And it made number 8, but it's definitely, in my heart, a lot higher right now. And we'll definitely have to see where that ends up, as far as my top games overall at some point. Talking about games that didn't also come out this last year is my number 7. My number 7 is Dune Imperium, specifically with the Rise of Ix expansion. It's a game that was also on my 10 for 10. Obviously completed it, but getting the Ix expansion just brought more plays. It brought a lot more variety in the way you play the game, and I really am enjoying this. It's one of my most viewed playthroughs so far on this channel, and that's because it's a fantastic game. I'm so excited about the movie coming out this year. I think that's going to spark some interest on me trying to get it tabled more. And, I haven't even touched Immortality. At some point, I will probably want to pick up Immortality, and that's just going to add to the game. This is a game I see getting played a dozen times a year for the next couple years. It's solid deck builder, solid worker placement. It does it really, really good together. My number 7, Dune Imperium with the Rise of Ix its expansion. Number 6 is another game that I believe this game came out in 2020, but I didn't table it until earlier this year. And funny enough, I had something very similar show up just a few days ago. My number 6, yes, that's right. Now, my number 6 is Warp's Edge. Another really good solo experience. I love deck building, so having a bag builder solo, very, very good. I like, I feel like there's just enough content in the base box. They give you, just enough ships. They give you just enough motherships to take out. And they did just come out with some more content, so I don't necessarily know if that's something I'm rushing to pick up, but I did get this game played quite a few times. It's a great value, if you're looking at a game that's a reasonable cost, that's kind of what really pushed this game to be up so high. I did get about 18 plays on this one, so it's plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. So I think as a solo gamer, it's just great to be able to grab, get it played, get it back on the shelf when you got time. And yeah, that's pretty much what put Warp's Edge at my number 6 spot. Going into my number 5 spot is another decently, I would say this one is a very good value. Such a good value. It was my best value game of the year. It came, I think this was supposed to come out late last year in 2021, but it came out in very early 2022, and we're talking about Tiny Epic Dungeons. This has to be one of my favorite Tiny Epic games. It's a dungeon crawler in a very small box. It does have, a few minor complaints, iconography, some of the rules, but overall, I think if you're looking for a small box dungeon crawler, it's a really good entry into that genre, and it's very inexpensive. Number 1 value, I think you could probably pick this game up from 20 to 30 bucks. And it's going to give you, I think it says it plays in about an hour, but it's about an hour and a half game, and so you play it. If you play it quite a few times, you're going to get some time in, and you're going to justify that value, and I think that's kind of what put this game so high up for me. It's definitely not the best game on here, but, the last one, Warp's Edge, was a great value. This one also a pretty good value for what it is. So that's my my number 5, Tiny Epic Dungeons. If you haven't checked it out, definitely pick it up if you're a fan of the Tiny Epic series. Like I said, it's up there for me. Maybe right under Galaxies, what I have, but it's definitely a fantastic addition. My number 4 is another game I played on this channel, and this did come out this year. This came out in, I want to say May, June time, and that is Planet Unknown. Great polyomino game. It's different from Tenpenny Parks. Another game that was I got some content for last year was Isle of Cats. Also a really good polyomino game. But this one, just in a solo experience, is so good. It's an easy setup game, and generally when you're gonna play it, you're gonna play it about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. With a solo experience, with a 2, 3, 4, it's got the simultaneous player actions with the Lazy Susan when you're selecting your polyomino piece. So I like the fact that you kind of always know what you're gonna get when you play it. It's not gonna go much longer, much shorter than that. But the sheer variety and the planets and the corporations you get to play. There's just so many puzzles to figure out with the polyomino game, and the solo experience has all of the, I don't know if they're called disaster cards, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but, they're always throwing you a curveball, and you kind of just have to, figure it out. Sometimes it doesn't affect you too much, but sometimes it does, and if you haven't checked out my playthrough, it is a surprisingly pretty good playthrough, so I would definitely do that if you're interested in a game like that. But yeah, it's my number 4. Definitely, like I said, I played it 20 times last year. And a lot of those were solo just because it was so easy to, grab a new corporation, grab a new planet, and be like, all right, what do we have to figure out? And it's a very fun game. But yeah, that's my number 4, Planet Unknown. Number 3 is a game I played for the first time last year, but I believe it came out in 2021. And there's new content coming out this year for it, and that is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. I was very much on the fence when I picked this game up, and when they did the Kickstarter for the new content for like Crisis and everything, it got me really looking into it. I had Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is the top 10 overall game for me. And so it was more one of those things where it's just like, do I need Ares Expedition if I'm already enjoying Terraforming Mars? Update. I think I like Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition just slightly better. It's easier to get to the table. I like the play style with, you know, the selection, the action selection system, playing a card for whatever you want to do, matching that with, you know, everybody else when they play a card. I also think the solo system is pretty good. I like a lot of what Ares Expedition does in a smaller package. I don't think it's as big, sprawling game as Terraforming Mars. I mean, if you want to play a game, we're going to be sitting at the table with, you know, 2 or 3 other players for, you know, 2 to 3 hours, play Terraforming Mars. But if you don't want that and you want the experience, but, you know, you want it closer to 90 minutes, go with it. If you want a solo experience, I would also say go with Ares Expedition, mainly because Crisis Mode is coming out this year, and believe me, I will have some playthroughs of that when it comes out. Very excited about it. But yeah, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, fantastic game. Came out 2021, got us to the table in 2022, and that is my 3rd highest rated game from last year. All right, so we're coming in to the final 2. Both of them very different games, but they're both very, very, very good games too. My number 2 game from 2022 is from a company I am very familiar with. In fact, I've already talked about one of their very popular games, and that is Burncycle. Burncycle is a game that I was so much on the fence when they crowdfunded it. I just, for whatever, could not wrap my head around it. I didn't know if I wanted it. I was intrigued. But when it came out, I watched a couple playthroughs, and I was lucky to rush and get a copy of this game, and I am so glad I did. It is so fun. I played this game predominantly solo, but I have played it at a 2-player count, and it is fun at 2 players. But I like, you know, you got the different corporations, you have different puzzles and layouts, you have different bots that you get to choose and pick which one's maybe betterly suited for that mission. You might just pick a bot because you like it better than the rest of them. I've done that. But it is so fun. There's so much variety. You have, you know, different floor layouts for different corporations. You have, you know, a randomized guard selection. Even, you know, if you're playing one floor, completely changes maybe how you have to approach the puzzle, and it's fantastic. I am proudly can say that we will have new Burncycle content at some point this year, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to bring the game to the channel. It is a longer play game, and you know, I'm really thinking about bringing just some Burncycle content of what I have right now, and you know, maybe doing some 1 floor, 2 floors, but it is a game I played 19 times. I played more. I spent more time with that game. I mean, because yeah, it runs about 2 hours. You know, generally, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, but about 2 hours to play in a solo situation. So it's a game I played a lot of. 19 plays. You know, you can do the math, but it is now probably my 2nd favorite chip theory game after Too Many Bones. I think it's fantastic. I'm glad I didn't miss out on it. Number 2, Burncycle. My number 1 is a game. So it's kind of in 2 parts. The original game came out, I believe, in 2020. I think it's been out for a couple years, but the standalone expansion, it's standalone completely. Came out this year. It came out in, I want to say, May time frame, and it was my most played game of the year. No shock. And it is Bulletstar. I have so many positive things to say about this series. When I got the boxes in, I played a lot of Bullet Heart, and then I waited about a month or two before I even opened Bullet Star. And I'm saying Bullet Star because it is the newer one. And I do like some of the characters more, I think, in Bullet Star than I like in Bullet Heart. But if you're not familiar with the series, it is a puzzle. You're drawing bullets, you're placing them, you're trying to, it's kind of like a survival game, you know. It's very arcade like. And so yeah, you're gonna be drawing bullets out of a bag, putting them on your player board. They have a bunch of different characters. They all play completely different because they have different decks, they have different abilities. Some of them can, I mean, to be honest, I thought there was like a standard action in the game, and I realized it's not a standard action because some of the characters can't even do it. So it takes a little while to learn some of the characters, but it's so easy to get to the table because you have a simultaneous play situation similar to Planet Unknown. Everybody's got their own character, everybody's drawing their own bullets out of their own bag, placing them. You know, you could play it timed if you want to play that way. I haven't, but I have played this. I played this a ton solo. I played this 2-player. I've played this 3-player. It's just, there's so much versatility in this game. There's so much content just in the box. And it's no wonder that I played this game 51 times because it's easy to get out, set up, you know, play 20 to 30 minutes, go, okay, am I done? No, let's play another character. Or, you know, I did a score attack, let's get a boss out. Let's see what I can do against a boss now that I've kind of figured this character out. It's just so fun. It's a game that I feel like having Bullet Heart and Star, you can play up to eight players. I mean, that's crazy. You know, a simultaneous game, 8 players, probably going to play closer to 40 minutes. Kind of depends on what you're doing too. But it's great. And that's why Bullet Star is my #1 game of 2022. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I hope a lot of it made sense. I rate a lot of my games based on data. I mean, it's based on plays, it's based on times played, it's based on a cost of a game, you know, and how many plays, you know, how many plays justifies the value of that game, you know, how many you know, cents per second are you playing? Kind of a metrics guy, if you haven't got that by now. But I hope that made sense. These aren't games that I just picked because I liked them. And I hope that's apparent because some of these were definitely games I would not have picked to be on my top 10 because I liked them necessarily any better. There's a ton of games, Too Many Bones. I mean, I would have just been like, oh, it's my favorite game, you know, of all time. Guess what? When I do my overall, Too Many Bones, one of my favorite games, isn't the top game. But we'll get to that. So let me know what you think. What was your favorite game from 2022? What was your least favorite game? I mean, I can name a couple, and I don't necessarily want to do that right now, but it's always, to me, it's always very interesting to look back on the last year and look at my gaming trends. And anything I can say going into 2023 is I expect to be a ton of changes on my overall. I have a lot of games that are going to go up. I have a lot of games that are going to go down. Terraforming Mars, highly rated. Probably isn't going to get played as much now that I have Ares Expedition. Especially when I get the expansion in. But, you know, there's a lot of games like that. And what are those games like for you? What are games that, you know, you loved, but maybe you don't love them as much as you used to? And that's why I really like doing these lists, because it kind of shows me what is really going to succeed next year and what's, you know, maybe going to drop a little bit further down the line. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Let me know what you think. As always, thanks for tuning in to Eat, Drink, Game, and I will see you guys on the next one. Much love.